So the number one problem that men have as they age, outside of the usual health problems, is that you lose 1% of your testosterone starting around age 30, I think is the number, 30, 31, something like that. You start losing 1% a year. That compounds pretty fast. And by the time you're in your 40s, you don't feel it because it's a gradual change. You'll just wake up when you're 42 and realize, I don't work as hard. I don't sleep as well. My dick doesn't get as hard. I'm not as motivated. I'm a little touchy. I'm gaining weight when I shouldn't be gaining weight. I'm not eating more carbs. I'm gaining weight. All kinds of problems. And when you go to the typical Western doctor and you get a testosterone test and it's low, I'll use American numbers here, but if your total testosterone maybe is like 320 and you're 45, your stupid Western doctor says, yes, that's right. Your testosterone will drop as you get. That's natural. You're just an old man now and just go back and watch TV. I knew that wasn't an option for me. I'm going to have to be 100%. And long-term consistent happiness is my number one goal in life. I talk about this in all my books and all my content. Long-term consistent happiness for the rest of my life is my number one goal above every other goal. And so if my testosterone is low, I'm going to be less happy. That's literally linked. It's a one-to-one thing there with guys. And so, yeah, I went on TRT maybe 8 years now, so early 40s. First thing I did before TRT was vitamin D. So if you're low on vitamin D, and most human beings are, that's like a miniature TRT. So I started taking vitamin D like 8,000 a day. Today I take 10,000 a day. And that was like a miniature TRT. I tracked my time and I noticed I was really effective, or much more effective, over the last like 6 weeks or so. This is years ago before I started TRT. And I went, well, what happened 6 weeks ago? Am I getting more sleep? No. Am I having more sex? No. Am I eating better? No, my diet's the same. Oh, that's why I started doing vitamin D. So I went, okay, vitamin D can make that difference. What can testosterone do? And so I started TRT, about 8 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that, I forget. And my testosterone wasn't even that low. It was lowish. It was okay for a guy my age. It was actually pretty good. But I wanted my testosterone to be in the optimal range. One of my objectives is to have my testosterone be the equivalent of an 18-year-old man for as long as I can in life, as long as that's healthy. Maybe when I'm 95, I shouldn't be doing that anymore, and a doctor can tell me, hey, you can't do that. But as long as I possibly can, probably into my early 70s, at least, I want to have the testosterone level of an 18-year-old man. That's what TRT stands for, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. You're replacing the testosterone you lost when you were younger. You're not adding more testosterone than you ever had. That's steroid use, which I think is insane and stupid. But I don't do that. So the ideal range is 700 to 1200. I want to stay in that range for the rest of my life. Right now, I'm just under 1,200. I'm at 1130, something like that, total testosterone, which is equivalent to an 18-year-old kid. And that's perfect. That's where I want to stay. And there's a bunch of other numbers I check. Estradiol, vitamin D, T3. I check a lot of numbers. But testosterone's one of the big ones, yeah.
So when you got it, what was your first impression? So did you have any side effects the first few months?
Yeah, I had a side effect, and it's a common one, is most men, not all men, but most men, when you start replacing the testosterone, your estrogen also goes up. And so you don't know if it's going to happen until it happens. So I went on TRT, it's kind of funny. Went on TRT, and I felt way better. It was great. But then I noticed in the mirror when I was shaved in the morning, my face looked rounder. And I had like this, not fat, just round. It looked round. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I was having sex with someone, was about to have sex with somebody, and I was about to take off my shirt, and I had this thought that I've never had in my life. I've never had this thought. I was about to take off my shirt, and I had this thought, like a little girl in the back of my head, and the little girl said, I feel fat. I went, I feel fat. I thought it, and I went, what the fuck is going on? So I called my doctor, I said, what the hell's going on? He said, oh, your estrogen is probably spiked, let's do a blood test. Sure enough, my estradiol was like 42 or something. It was way too high. He's like, okay, this is very normal. So I take an anastrozole, which I'm trying to find a replacement for. That's another story. I take half. The pills are very tiny. They're about that big. I take half of one a week. So I take very little, and it brings my estradiol down to the ideal range. It's again, using American measurements, it's 20 to 30, closer to 20. So mine's right at 20, 19, 20, 21. So I had that side effect, but that went away instantly as soon as I took the anastrozole. And that's it. From then on, it's been perfect. It was the only problem I had. And that was just maybe 2 weeks, and it fixed immediately. So that was it. No, benefits across the board. My income went up 80%. My average daily income went up by 80%. My sleep improved. My sex improved. It didn't improve a lot because it was pretty good to begin with. I'm just genetically lucky on that one. What else? More focused at work, more energy at work, more motivation at work. And I was a pretty motivated guy, but more of everything good. Happier, everything. So now I tell guys, if you're 40 or over, TRT is a mandatory requirement unless you're one of these, you're genetically blessed and you have natural high numbers, which is rare, or some guys have lower numbers, but they feel great at lower numbers. Again, it's all genetics because everyone's body's different. So unless you're in that rare category, you need to be on TRT post 40. Otherwise, I know it's going to happen. I know guys in their 40s. They're not like me. They're not. They're quiet, not quiet. They're just not motivated. They got the big beer belly, you know, which is usually estrogen. They're not excited. They're not motivated. They're not excited by anything. They're touchy. They have shitty sleep. I mean, it's just down the line. TRT solves so many problems. And I do a lot of other things in addition. I do ipamorelin. I have HCG. A lot of protocol. I have a detailed protocol for that stuff. But yeah, testosterone's great. Highly recommend for men over 40 and younger men who need it. There's a growing population of younger men who need it.